There are many great murder mystery films, from Seven, Silence of the Lambs, Chinatown, and many, many more. And there are some great debut films, whether it be the classic films such as Citizen Kane from Orson Welles, or a low-budget but still fantastic films such as Clerks. These are all two things that combined for a film that I would like to talk about in this video. That film being from the controversial filmmaker Rian Johnson and his debut film from 2005, Brick. Now, Rian Johnson is a very controversial director, mainly due to his entry into the Star Wars franchise, which people either loved or hated. However, he has done some great other works, such as Knives Out films, the first one in particular being very well written and directed, and him directing perhaps the greatest TV episode of all time, that being Breaking Bad's Ozymandias. Now, his first film is much like his others, not really convincing, with it basically being a 1930s murder mystery noir film set in a high school, with it following a lot of the same type of tropes of those films: the loner detective, the femme fatale, the thug enforcer, and the crime boss. The film being directly inspired by the novels of Dashiell Hammett. Basic plot follows Brendan, a high schooler, who gets a call from his ex-girlfriend Emily, who over the phone sounds scared and worried, and eventually he finds her dead in a tunnel, and in turn investigates her death. A big reason this film works is the actors, as a lot of the dialogue is kind of cheesy.
Throw one at me if you want, Hashhead. I got all 5 senses and I slept last night. That puts me 6 up on the lot of you.
Which was intentional as it's based on the 1930s film dialogue, and it's been spouted out by high schoolers. However, Johnson stated that, quote, "We will never win, even when the situations got to the point where you saw the absurdity of it. That's especially the times when it was important that we were just completely honest, creating a real world and creating real people," end quote. Which somehow makes the film work, even though it shouldn't, as a lot of it is kind of goofy. Take for example the character of Kara, a drama student who's always in her play get-up and constantly teases Brendan, and we see she even has her own lapdog slash runner.
Lapdog, bloat,
Stay
I need words
while I'm listening.
about Emily.
Which, despite that sounding silly, due to the actor's dedication to playing it straight, it works in the film's favour. Now, Brendan is the film's strongest point in my opinion, with a great performance from Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who gives it his all in the role and has the most fleshed out realised performance, as he's basically a detective in a high school. As we see, he's very intuitive and smart. For example, during the film, Brendan is attacked by a man with a knife, wherein he chases Brandon round school, who smartly listens to the man's feet on the concrete behind him, and once going round the corner, takes his shoes off and slides in order to knock the guy out. As a common theme / idea in these classic noir detective films, is a detective's ability to outsmart the attacker, like in the film Chinatown, which I think inspired the film given the plot and the bandage on Brendan's nose, perhaps referencing the one on Jack Nicholson's in Chinatown. The film also features some surreal elements, such as Brendan knowing where to find Emily's body due to a dream he has, as he has these kind of visions throughout the film. There's also the character known as the Brain, who tells Brendan info about several different characters, and where they could be and up to, which the Brain is considered by many to be a sort of figment of Brendan's imagination and represent his actual brain / thought process, as only one person mentions the Brain throughout the film, that being Emily, who of course Brendan sees in a dream, thus another surreal-like character. As whenever Brendan wants information, he goes to the Brain, who is always available.
Wow, where you been eating? Back at school. Yeah, no seen you. What's it been, a couple of months? It's been a while.
And in a scene in which Brendan figures out how to find where Emily is, once he's figured it out, the Brain also figures out the Rubik's Cube. And the most damning evidence is the ending of the film, in which the Brain literally disappears into Brendan's head, where of course the Brain is. Another strong point of the film is its visual style, which works really well, whether it be the surreal scenes that give the film a more unique stylistic feel, as well as the song cinematography, wherein they frame everything pretty well, capturing Brendan's loneliness, which we see the film do constantly with the blurring out of other characters in the background, or him just being shot constantly alone or away from other characters. The film's mystery is obviously what hooks the viewer, however it turns into another mystery inside a mystery. That being, who was the father of Emily's baby? As she was pregnant at the time of her death, as her boyfriend at the time believes it was him, Dode, the drug dealer we see earlier in the film, believes he's the father. And he also saw Brendan take the body and hide it away somewhere. And a meeting is set up between Dode, Brendan, Penn, the drug dealer who purchased and sold heroin bricks, and Tug, the Penn's enforcer who throughout the film beats up Brendan quite severely, leading to Brendan constantly passing out due to swallowing blood. Who we find out was also romantically involved with Emily as well. And during the meeting, Dode demands more money from the Penn, and eventually Tug, in a fit of rage and the fear of the murderer's identity being revealed, kills Dode. In turn threatening the Penn, starting a rivalry between them both. Eventually, Brendan is able to arrange a meeting between Tug and the Penn, and Brendan waits in Tug's bedroom, in which he is comforted by the character Laura, who is a femme fatale-like character with connections to everyone, and she constantly tries to gain trust of Brendan throughout the film, which he refuses to, and during this scene he notices her cigarette brand, which was the same cigarette brand we see at the start of the film when Tug's car drives past Brendan and the cigarette falls at the car. And during the meeting, it all goes wrong, as one of the 10 bricks are missing, leading to Tug attacking the Penn alongside Tug's goons attacking the Penn's goons. Leading to Tug beating the Penn to death and Brendan escaping, where we see he placed Emily's body in the boot of Tug's car, in order for the blame to be put on him about Emily's death. Now during the ending, Laura meets with Brendan, where he then reveals the truth about what really happened to Emily.
Or maybe he just blew a fuse, but when Em sprung it on him, she had her kid, he did what anyone could count on to do. He hit her. She took the hit. For you let her take it.
Stop!
When Truman reads my note, takes my cue and searches your locker, you won't find a damn thing.
Laura set up Emily and stole the 10th brick, and then manipulated Emily into meeting with Tug, in which she killed her due to thinking the baby was his. However, Laura, who now will be eventually arrested, reveals to Brendan the fact that Emily didn't want the baby due to her not loving the father being Brendan himself. Thus, the ending of a very ambitious first feature from Rian Johnson.
What'd she whisper to you?
She called me a dirty word.
Alright, you don't have to tell me.
Overall, a really great first film. Whilst not perfect due to inexperience and the small budget of the film, it's still great and shows the type of director that Johnson would become. But also a great murder mystery that, whilst not a masterpiece in my opinion, still one that I think deserves to be mentioned as a great film, and also a unique mystery. That would of course get even better with his later murder mystery films, in which he perfected the formula and added his name into the great murder mystery directors and films.